Welcome back. In this video, we will cover using stack views with AutoLayout. We will take a look at constraining stack views, and we will also take a look at the different attributes that are involved with the stack. Let's go ahead and delete that view controller, and we can start implementing these stack views into our actual application. So let's select all of our color views, and then go down to the button and embed these into a stack view. Notice it brings the color views really close. So we'll make sure that this is a horizontal axis, and we'll put some spacing in here. And let's set it to 8 spacing for now. And right now we have 2 stack views in each other, so we'll delete the one stack view. And now we have to go ahead and reset our spacing, and we'll put it at 10 for now. And that looks good. So the alignment and the distribution are okay at fill. And let's go ahead and constrain this stack view to the view that it's in. And we'll do 0 on each of the edges. And you know what, let's do 12, that way there's some spacing. And notice there's this red line that's around our stack view. And that's because we lost the constraints on the height of our actual color view. And notice that the size of these color views are too big when we take a look at a smaller device. So here we're make some adjustments. We're adjust the stack view spacing to 4, and now we can go ahead to the color views and add the constraints for the height and the width. And the width right now has multiple because it's being determined by the actual stack view. And the stack view is on a particular size, so we will go ahead and change these both to 38 for now to see how that looks. And when we do that, it puts these greater than or equal than signs. And that is just saying that if it's greater than or equal to, that these sizes will always be greater than or equal to 38. And they will never go below that size. So we actually want to change some of these settings. First, we will change the stack view trailing margin and leading margin. And now we will change some of the height and width just to see what settings work best. And notice it still says multiple and 44. And when we do 32, it gives us all these red errors. And that's because they have so many constraints on them already. And you can see that we have multiple width and multiple height constraints. We have 3 of each. So we're going to delete all of them on all of the color views, except for the height and width that is less than or equal than 32. So we'll go through each one of these and delete the 44s and the 38s. And this is just going to take a minute here because we have a lot of different color views. So we'll get rid of the 44s and the 38s, just leaving 32s. Do that again, and yet again. Delete the 38 here, and now we have all of them. But notice that some of them don't have correct spacing, and that's because it's saying less than or equal to the 32, and we need this to be equal to 32. So we want to go through each of these constraints and change them from less than or equal to be equal. So we will select all of these width and height constraints, change those from the less than or equal to equal. And now for our last one, we will set that to equal, and then go to our stack view and go to the attribute inspector. And we can leave the alignment to fill, and then we can do fill equally, and we have our spacing back, but it ended up making the squares into rectangles. But if we finally set it to equal spacing, we have our 32 by 32 squares, and we have the spacing between each of those squares to be equal. And it also gives us that padding of that spacing that we set in there. So we can go back to our constraints here, and we can change that to be 12 on each side again, even though we had it changed to 8. And that matches the spacing between the squares themselves. And we can select all of our other views and embed them into a vertical stack view. So when we hit embed and stack, it already put them in the stack view for us and already set it to vertical. We can constrain that stack view to 0 on all edges. And then it's missing, looks like a space at the top here. So we want to make some adjustments. And we're set that spacing to 8 on each of the sides. Right now our title text field is in the center. So we want to go to our attribute inspector and change the alignment from center to fill. And that fixes that for us. And we're missing some spacing between the tag buttons. So we'll put some spacing there and that fills it in nicely for us. We can go back to our iPhone 8. In the next video, we will take a very brief look at developing for multiple devices.